Join your host, Thomas Clark, director, writer, and producer of A New Bloom, Tarot Tango, and The Woman of Wilding Woods, as he talks with founder of PakerRose Productions Ellie and screenwriter and director of Salon Standoff Lucy. Listen to us talk about the two productions they're currently working on, their thoughts and opinions on distributions and festival runs, the challenges they've faced and overcome with both productions, and how they self-taught their way through crowdfunding. A big thank you goes out to these two again, as we had to re-record the episode due to human error and computer error. So, without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Oh, and it's good to be back. You're going to have to introduce yourselves to me again because last time I didn't record the podcast, so we're back again for a new episode of the Zero Budget Filmmakers podcast. We are again with Ellie and Lucy yourselves. Ellie, introduce yourself first, and then Lucy will come to you a little bit afterwards.
Well, I'm Ellie. I'm a writer and producer from Bristol. I have a production company called PakerRose Productions, and we're kind of working on a variety of sort of sketches to short films this year, and two of which include my incredible director-writer friend, Lucy.
Perfect opportunity for Lucy. You introduce yourself for
There we
us.
go, dive in. So I'm Lucy. I'm based in Southport up north, and I'm a writer director. So I've done a couple of short films over the last few years, and most recently did one Weekend Just Gone with Ellie's lovely production company.
Perfect. And that was Heads Down, Hands Up, was it not?
No, this one's
Oh,
Salon Standoff.
this was Salon
Yeah,
Standoff. So Heads Down, Hands Off was a different project shot how long ago, or has it not been shot yet?
no, upcoming in September, that one.
Upcoming in September. So we'll get on to touching base with both of those projects. So I know we've kind of touched base a little bit on what you've both done. Are there any notable projects that you've both done? What are your favourites that you've previously worked on? Have they all been shorts? Have either of you jumped into any features at all?
Go on, Ellie.
Um, I think it's weird because when you start your career, the first sort of short you make, although you know it's not going to be the best thing you've ever made, it's still really memorable. And that one for me personally was one that I really enjoyed making. And then last year I shot two short films. One is currently on a festival run now, and that one is one that I'm very proud of as well. And could be short film wise, it was a drama and it was very experimental.
Good.
So that was definitely a memorable one for me.
Okay. And Lucy yourself?
I did one last year, which was more of a sort of mockumentary style, but it was the first really in the comedy genre, which I've really stepped into since then. So that was maybe like a little bit of a turning point for my style as a writer director. So that's probably up with the highs, but also the one that we've just filmed at the weekend. That was a great experience to really throw myself into comedy directing. So I think that's probably my newest top favorite, I'd say.
Good, amazing. So we'll go straight into last weekend then, but we'll start at the beginning of the process. I want to kind of see how the story came about, where the progression then went on to finding yourselves and deciding on how we were going to shoot it, because I know you had some challenges when we last spoke that we were trying to find a petrol station and these bits. Am I on the same project or am I on a different project?
That's heads down, hands up, which
That's
was
heads down, hands up. So
we don't make things easy. We're very confusing.
that's all
Yeah.
good. So we'll go with Salon Standoff because I don't think we spoke about it last time. So where did the idea of Salon Standoff come from?
I guess I was kind of looking at places that I knew I could use location wise for free.
Okay,
And my family own a hair and beauty salon. And so I was kind of like, okay, why don't we make sort of a nice, funny sketch centered in sort of a hair salon being robbed? And I kind of approached Lucy and I was like, I've got a location, I've got an idea. Do you want to write it with me? And luckily she said yes. And
amazing,
we went from there really and kind of writing it together and casting and then actually getting the date in to shoot it.
good. And what?
Ellie's being modest, by the way. She did a
Okay,
whole chunk. The script was pretty much ready when it came to. We just went through some tweaks. It was a really, really great script. We couldn't say no to it. It's great.
amazing. So Lucy, you clearly had an easy job coming into Salon Standoff and was
Yeah.
just like, I'll tweak the script as and where I want to as a director, and then direct it in your style. Or was it directed in both your styles? And Ellie, did you have like a co-director role in the piece?
I'd say it was more so with the way it was written, the way we sort of went back over it together. Me and Ellie have we work quite well because we're quite similar in the sort of directing styles and things that we do. So the way it was probably written between the two of us when we worked on that together really helped inform the direction of it, which came to life on set.
Amazing. And then let's go back to the very beginning of Ellie's kind of come to you, Lucy, with this idea, and clearly the majority of the scripts, as you're going to humbly say. How long's then the process before you decide to kind of look at casting and shooting dates and moving forward with production? What kind of
I mean,
what time frame are we looking at? Was it a nice quick turnover? Was it a project that you were looking more of, let's just itch a creative nerve, or was it more of a passion project and right, let's actually commit to this?
it was definitely a passion project, I think, for us to kind of get in there and do a comedy project before we're sort of prepping then to do Heads Down, Hands Up. So it was quite a quick turnaround, I'd say, in regards to finding a date that everyone could do, I think was the hardest part.
Hmm.
So I think we could have done it earlier, but because obviously all the actors had different projects and then me and Lucy had our own things going on, it was just kind of like pinning down a single day to be like, right, everyone in Bristol, let's shoot, let's get this thing going. But I think turnaround wise, we probably did it, I think, in less than probably say 3 months.
A very
Yeah,
quick
I'd
turnaround
agree.
then. So
Yeah.
that's 3 months from original idea to started shooting, or is that 3 months from right, scripts kind of done, let's look at shooting?
I would say script's done.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
cast go. Yeah,
Good. So a fairly quick turnaround for you both. It's nice to know that you can do a passion project in such a short amount of time.
definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it's so feasible. Sorry, Lucy, you, Karen.
No, I was just going to say the same thing. I think when we sort of collaborate so well together, we're both aligned, and I think because we're working towards this bigger project in September, and we knew this was a good opportunity to get some of the similar cast members in there and test out some crew and how that set works. There was probably the motive behind it to be like, let's get this done, let's get this made, let's get out, and then let's move on to the bigger one.
So is this kind of a sort of warm up for Heads Down, Hands Up, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's his own sort of like identity and project. But I guess for us, trying to test out some shots and trying to see, I guess, Lucy's style of directing more in comedy and to just, I guess, when you don't continuously do job, 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 it's nice to have a warm up job before the big scary job comes around.
Definitely
So,
is.
yeah.
Nice. And is this a new crew for yourselves, or is this all people that you've both worked with previously, or is it we've kind of popped a message out, popped a casting out, and got a whole bunch of fresh faces to trial and test ready for Heads Down, Hands Up?
I'd worked with the DOP before, but other than that, it was Ellie. Ellie brought a really good crew together. She's very well connected.
Amazing. So a fresh crew for you, Lucy. Ellie, was it previous
Yeah.
people you've worked with, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a nice mix, like cast wise. The guy in it, I hadn't worked with him for like 3 years. He's also in Heads Down, so that's great. Then two of the girls in Salon Standoff I worked with last year together in another short. The crew we did, and then we had a lovely girl called Claire who did a tape for me last year, but didn't get the role. But I
Okay.
actually brought her in because from her tape, I was like, first, you are perfect for this project. So I then kind of got in contact with her that way.
Amazing. So you've clearly got a big network of people there to kind of bring on board for any project that you're kind of working on at the moment, which is great. What's the area like in Bristol creative wise? I know they've recently launched a 48 up there, but and then I know you've obviously got Bristol Vic. How is it sourcing material in Bristol where you are? Is it a good creative network, or is the creative network up and coming, or is it dropping off at the moment?
I think it's a good place to network. I mean, we've got things are filming here all the time out in Bristol. We've got the Bottle Yard Studios, which is massive. We've got another studio that's opened up, but I'm that bad at memory that I can't remember what it's called, and I'll get told off for that
Yeah.
later. Um, it's definitely there's loads of people here, but I think it's hard if you don't have your foot in the door to get into the productions here.
100%.
Yeah, so you kind of have to look around and network with people in same situations as us to go, do you want to jump on a project? Do you want to do this? And I guess it's kind of the same as most cities in that regard.
Yeah. And I know, Lucy, last time we spoke, you were hoping to do Heads Down, Hands Up a little bit closer to yourself up north. Coming down
Mhm.
south to Bristol, it can't be the easiest of things. So the next project, I assume, is still going to remain up north, Heads Down, Hands Up. Up north, we're
Yeah,
basing it still up.
yeah, up
Brill.
north. It wasn't too bad. I think the drive down was about 3 and a bit hours. But it was all right. We set off later, so the roads were nice and clear. But yeah, luckily the next job was going to be up north, about 20 minutes or so from me. So I'm
Good.
looking forward to that one, definitely.
And what's it like networking up where you are abouts?
Um, it's quite difficult, definitely being we were not too far from Liverpool, but not being like a big city,
Mm.
definitely has its creative limitations. Although the town does have a few bits and bobs going on, but I think definitely the concentration is Liverpool and Manchester. That's where you've really got to head for the networking.
Amazing. So we'll leave
Mm.
Salon stand off for a little bit, and we'll kind of come to focus on Heads Down, Hands Up now, because I know this is now your larger project that you had put some crowdfunding out there. Is that still going ahead?
We're redoing it.
You're redoing the crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump into this. What happened with the first one then? Who would like to lead off with the original crowdfunding? What happened there?
So
Wow.
we weren't sort of, I guess I was waiting for an actor to kind of confirm if he was in it or not, just because of dates. And it was kind of up in the air, and we weren't really putting as much behind it as we should have done, because we were kind of and on of, right, we can't put this person out, so we can't really publicize certain aspects of it. Whereas, so we kind of pulled it to a halt, and we're like, right, let's hold fire till we hear back from him, and then we'll restart it. And we're working on it at the moment. We're just talking about different perks you can get for donations. Trying to get a bit more content off the cast to sort of go alongside it,
Okay,
and then just start doing basically content videos and just really publicizing the cast, crew, and the project as a whole.
amazing. And what does that then put a halt to production as well? Have you still stuck to your key production dates, or have you now looked at pushing production back, Lucy?
No, I think it's because we've sort of had to align with what's going on and confirm a lot of details for the production. It's sort of solidified the dates. We've now got those locked in, which I think then spurs us on to get moving forward with the extra crowdfunding activities. We've got a location locked in and things now as well. So it's probably starting to definitely feel more real, which is probably what me and Ellie need to be like, right, let's go and raise some money.
Amazing. So we'll start with this crowdfunding then. What are both your experiences with crowdfunding previously, Lucy? As we've just spoken to you, lead us away. Have you ever crowdfunded before? Have you ever started a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe? And what have your experiences been like with it?
My first, oh sorry, my second short that I actually worked with Ellie on, that was crowdfunded, but I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. It was a bit of an unsuccessful one, and it was really a low budget to no budget short film, so we didn't really need much behind it. But other than that, not really. So that's why we've very much been sort of navigating it together, trying to learn the tips and tricks of a successful crowdfunder, which we are evidently continuing to learn.
Amazing. And Ellie, yourself?
I'd never really done them. I kind of self-finance a lot, so I
Okay.
don't tend to do too many. But I did crowdfund for a project that we didn't end up doing because we didn't actually raise enough money.
Okay.
And so we kind of had a deadline at the time, and we're like, if we don't raise, say, half by this point, then we need to kind of pull back. Um, and we did, and the money that was actually donated, we then used last year to help create two projects. So
Amazing.
although kind of had to pull a halt to that project, it kind of helped in the long run because it helped fund two separate projects,
Amazing. At
which
least
is
you're
weird.
still then, yeah, you're still putting that money to good use as it was there to do. Yes, it's not on one massive project. You have then divvied it up and still been able to create and publicize something and show that that's what the money has gone towards.
Yeah.
Um, how was the experience though, not being able to hit those targets? It's as a filmmaker, it's definitely not easy, let alone putting it out. That's hard enough as it is, but then the constant battle of having to put out content for it and pass the word for it. How is it to put in all that hard work and still not meet the target?
Hard. I think that's one of the hardest things is you're not just selling the project, you're selling yourself.
Hmm.
And when you crowdfund, it's kind of the worst thing possible because some people genuinely want to help, but it does cost money to donate money.
Yeah.
And it can be hard. So I'm like, there's so many people that are like, I'll share it. And I'm like, a share is perfect for me because it means, you get more sort of attraction to the project. And I completely understand that sometimes you don't have the 10, £20 laying around to donate. Um, and I guess that can be complicated too, which is why I kind of self-finance quite a few projects.
Yeah.
I don't really want, it's hard, I think, to try and get people to give you money,
Very much
especially,
so.
I guess that's my thing is worrying about people who might struggle. And I'm like, but you don't have to. Like a simple share or a like or anything on the project is good enough for me. Um, but I think for this one, it's a bit different because I guess it's more filmmakers and more private investors that would kind of be looking at this project a bit more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for sort of like exact credits and stuff like that, people would look for from this fundraiser.
Amazing. It's definitely one of these things that goes to show all the small things do add up. Likes, shares, as you say, anything to help support the project does make it that little bit better. But Lucy, for yourself, after hearing the struggles of maybe not hitting your target, what have you gone on to learn on your kind of first big crowdfunding that's going to help Heads Down, Hands Up actually reach that target goal?
I think it's sort of just driving engagement on any channel that you can. We sort of put the link live, and then I remember sitting there thinking, "Oh, why do you not have like £10,000 on and it's been donated yet?" So I think you've really got to be creative. You've got to think of ways because at the same time, as Ellie said, you've got to give money to donate, and you've got to have money to give it. So I think if we're trying to appeal to people that do have that money. So what would you want to see in that position? What sort of messaging is gonna make you think, all right, okay, this project seems good, let's get involved. Ellie's been really creative, thought of some good incentives to help local businesses and ways that they can get involved, which we're going to be trying to drive out pretty soon. Um, so I think that could have some good work, definitely. But I think just constantly trying to be innovative and think of different ways to get people's attention.
Amazing. That's exactly what it is, and that's what I'm trying to hopefully use this platform to do is get people out there just to go and make films, whether it is as Ellie does, mainly self-funded and go with that, or if it is crowdfunding, go and try and find any opportunities. And I
Mhm.
myself still need to venture into crowdfunding. I haven't fully committed it. I've tried it once and didn't hit my target. I went, yeah, you know what? Never again. I need to take a brave step and hopefully learn off the both of you after with your hopeful success of Heads Down, Hands Up. But finding an audience, as you just said, other than Ellie, yourself, you're going to go and approach local businesses. And Lucy, you just said you're looking for people to kind of come on with a little bit more money and X produce and come with a larger sum of money. How have you gone about finding those target audiences?
Sorry, is that
Do you
me
want
or
to
Ellie?
Yeah, Lucy, go for it. 'Cause I know you just kind of mentioned that you were going to look for people
Yeah.
with larger sums of money. How have you gone out and actively searched for that?
Well, I think it's sort of targeting loads of sort of local businesses and platforms that they would engage with as well. I mean, we have sort of local radio stations and things that you could maybe get a slot, get a shout out, things like that. Any extra attention that we can get. Ellie does a lot of work on LinkedIn, so you potentially run into the right target audience on there. I mean, we originally used Twitter as a channel, but I don't quite think we're going to find what we're looking for in terms of funders on there. So I think maybe reevaluating and taking a step and thinking, okay, where are the people that we want to talk to?
Okay, so still heavily social media based, you think for yourself. And Ellie, you said, well, Lucy said that you're going to head on LinkedIn. LinkedIn isn't the ones that's normally majorly spoken about unless you're kind of trying actively searching for work. But how is it helping yourself on this project to help a Kickstarter?
It's weird because I think LinkedIn's actually severely underrated for
Okay.
the creative industry. The network you can find on there is incredible, and the amount of sort of angel investors, private investors, all that types of people are a lot easier to find on a platform like LinkedIn because that's where they'll talk about their own stuff that they invest in and how you can get investors that way. And then the people in your network can kind of share stuff, and then you connect with another investor, and it's kind of like a continuous circle of networking and finding the right people who, okay, they might not want to invest in this one, but they might invest in the next one.
Okay.
So it's definitely a platform that I suggest more people in the creative industry sort of dive into if you're definitely a bit more director producer aspect.
That's interesting to hear. I've never heard anyone say LinkedIn. It's always, as you say, X or Instagram, pushing it out on kind of your major social media platforms. LinkedIn is normally pushed to the side and is the very formal, in quotations, kind of social media platform that everyone's going towards. But it's nice to hear that you're finding clearly some success in it, and it's maybe hopefully something that I'll now need to go in and actually deep dive into and look into, and clearly do a little bit more research into it, as you seem to be finding some success there. So definitely, I'm learning from yourselves, which is great. I mean, this is what I'm wanting to take from this. So let's get into the story of Heads Down, Hands Up. Um, is it Lucy? Is it your script, Heads Down, Hands Up, or is it again a combined effort from you both?
All Lucy.
Yeah, it's my script, this one.
Where's the story come
But
from then? Give us a little bit of a brief rundown of Heads Down, Hands Up.
yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting story because it's not one that's come from sort of a lived experience, as short films often do take their people's interpretation from. But I wanted to do something with really creative characters and characters that you don't often see, and sort of celebrating the unsung hero and the underdog, which me and Ellie are quite passionate about. And actually, that's a bit of an ethos that runs through Ellie's production company as well, which is why we sort of paired up quite nicely on this one. Um, but yes, yeah, so it's basically the story follows a deaf customer that heads on into a petrol station, met with a bumbling shop assistant and a robber a few minutes later, and it's the sort of the action comedy story of how they get out of that, with also some quite nice moments that relate nicely to the viewer, we hope, and a sort of story of overall character strength that comes on top of it as well.
Amazing. And you say this wasn't kind of a lived story for yourself. What
No.
brought on trying to speak about people with that suffer from, I don't know the right word. Is it deafness? Is that the right word for it? Am I being
Yeah, sort of hearing impaired.
hearing
Yeah.
impaired? That's what I'm after. Where's
So
what made you kind of speak their voice, so to say?
it's not a story that we ever see. It's not a character that we often see, and I definitely haven't either. There's been a few sort of touches on it. I don't know if you've seen Coda, the Oscar winner, quite a few years ago, one of my favorite films ever. And I think really found that story really interesting, the way that the characters played out, and the way you could feel so much for a character that really you can't actually communicate with, especially if you're not trained in BSL, which I'm not either. Um, so I think it's really targeting characters that people want to hear from, but they don't know that they want to hear from, and that they've got a story, and a story that's worth listening to as well, and they can really add value to
Amazing. So you said you haven't learned any, or you hadn't learned any BSL. Have you learned some now? Have you learned a little bit? Because I remember in school it's the good old good morning and good afternoon and thank yous. Have you expanded on a little bit more of that knowledge now, having written this script?
Yeah, and funnily enough, actually, I think what you've just mentioned touched on schools and things there, but I was never really taught any of it in school. But
Okay.
my partner's nephew does a bit of sign language here and there, so probably I've learned a bit from him, and he's only 2, so he's actually better at it than I think me and Ellie combined. But definitely, we're getting a sort of an interpreter to come on the set as well and help out, because our lead actress is hearing impaired as well. So
Okay.
we want to make sure that's a supportive and accessible environment for everyone on set as well.
Amazing. So it's a lot to this project then, as you're clearly labeling out. You've got petrol stations, you've got interpreters coming on board. There's going to be a substantial cast and crew there. Let's start breaking it down. And obviously, this is the Zero Budget Filmmakers podcast. I want people to go out and create from zero. But for yourselves, when did we start thinking about budgeting? When did that discussion come up? Because it's never the easiest discussion to have. One person's always has, I want this and I want everything, and the other one's right, let's be more reserved. Ellie, who played what role in this project so far?
I just ping Lucy low budget, medium budget, high budget.
Okay.
Go, okay, so if we manage to get a load of money from grants or funds, we can work with this one. But since we probably won't because it's really hard, let's start with the low budget figure out what we can cut, figure out where we might need to put more money, get sort of a ballpark number, and then figure out how to get said amount.
Amazing. And how is it going so far? I know you said you just recently relaunched the Kickstarter, but have you used any of the money from the previous stuff? Is the ball rolling on it still?
We've definitely got some money already packaged.
Good.
Because my company will exec produce, so I'll put a certain amount of money in, and then the rest we're gonna fundraise, which is sort of the
The
fun bit of this
Kickstarter.
week for me and Lucy to get that rolling.
Amazing. So if you're allowed to say, what is the budget looking like currently on Heads Down, Hands Up?
Slightly higher than I want it,
Okay.
but almost not that bad because we've got the location for a better price.
Amazing. Is that the petrol station? Because I know last time we
Yeah,
spoke, the petrol station was obviously the key location that you were going
yeah.
to need, but you've now been able to source one.
Yeah, and to be fair, they've been incredible and they really want to help out with this project. And they are literally the best people I've ever sort of connected with location wise. They're just so
Amazing.
helpful. They want to kind of make it as accessible and they want to help promote the film and just help any way they can, to be quite honest, which is incredible to sort of have that support from them.
Real. So run us through that from obviously making the decision to go, right, obviously we need a petrol station, but run us through the process from, okay, who do we speak to, and then why the one you selected?
Lucy, do you want to take this one away?
Yeah, I can do. So I think I didn't think we really ever had a conversation about where it would be filmed, whether it be sort of north or south. I was just sort of like, I know a great petrol station, and I think
Okay.
maybe because that played a bit of a part because I'd obviously written the script, and subconsciously maybe these petrol stations that I know would be good locations played a bit of a role in that setting. But this one specific one, we sort of got in touch with them. I think it was we'd got in touch with a few and not heard back, and we'd had a look on. Ellie had done quite a bit of location research on websites that have these pre-listed, but they were a bit random locations, not near either of us, which can make things a little bit difficult when you sort of do recce's and whatnot. So we reached out to this particular one, and we got a really positive response from their legal team, which we then arranged a call, jumped on that. Lightly talked budgets, but it was more sort of logistics, insurance, health and safety, which obviously Ellie's forte, and she's got all that covered. So then the conversations could progress. And Ellie was able to secure it for a really reasonable price. And it's a perfect setting for the film. It's how we can play all the shots I've already envisioned. So it's exciting stuff, and it's 24 hours as well, which is good. At first, we thought that might be a barrier, but obviously there's not a huge footfall because it's a night shoot as well. In between the hours we'll be filming, and it makes it easier because there's already going to be staff on site, so they don't need to reopen and employ more staff and spend more money just for the production, which is good.
Amazing. So is this, do you class this now for yourselves as a, well, Lucy, probably more for yourself? Is this like a big leap for yourself now directing in clearly I'm assuming it's a chain petrol station. There's not many independents around,
Mhm.
but taking on the responsibility and now shooting in a location that is completely out of your control, and it is these legal documents as Ellie's normally in control of, health and safety, risk assessments, everything like that. How has the pressure affected you now going on to direct this? Has it altered your mindset a little bit, knowing that it is now such a large location that could build such a good career for yourself?
I think it's just made me more excited. Maybe I should be a little bit more scared. I don't know, but I think me and Ellie have always been quite keen in the last year or so to really sort of work on something a little bit bigger together. Um, I mean, Ellie does loads of great stuff, but for me personally, it's probably the biggest thing that I'll have worked on to date, definitely. So I think there's the more serious it gets with your legal documents and your location, and you've got to be sort of shepherding around in there as well. Makes it more exciting, and I think the step in the right direction. Pardon the pun.
Amazing. And Ellie, for yourself, was this more of just general day to day for yourself, looking at locations for this, or was it maybe even a step up for yourself, or is it even a step down?
Um, a bit of a step up, I think, because finding a petrol station is probably the hardest location I've ever had to try and lock down.
You're
Um,
welcome.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Lucy. Um, I get as soon as Lucy kind of told me about EG and sort of talking to Shabir, who's the manager on that site, it just was 10 times easier. They were all just so lovely and helpful, and it kind of made my experience of figuring out how you actually use a petrol station, for example,
Yeah,
10 times easier. And it was quite daunting at the beginning because there's so much that you're kind of like, well, you can't really shoot here. Got to be careful shooting behind the till. But they're really helpful and logistically between sort of me and Shabir are just going to talk about how me and Lucy can get the team in and around and places to park and where we can and can't sort of hang around. So
yeah,
yeah,
of course.
it's
Because I can imagine with the petrol station, there's a lot more health and safety than any other site that you're going to have because you have got fuel and goods and everything else. So l- I'm like document wise and risk assessment wise, that must have been a whole new area to look into for yourself, especially with the handling of liquid fuel. I don't know if it's in the script or not. Is there anything to do with fueling cars or fueling cans? How is that
oh yeah.
affected the risk assessment wise for yourself?
Well, I'm going to meet Lucy next month to kind of go back to the station, meet sort of Shabir and the team in person, and sort of do our recce and sort of health and safety test together there. There's a few things that I have sort of picked up where I'm kind of like, me and Lucy are going to have to sit down and have a discussion about certain points that may have to be altered just for safety reasons.
Hmm.
But most of it is pretty fine. I mean, it is kind of like complicated in
Yeah.
the easiest form. It's very complicated, but you just have to alter how you shoot slightly, and you can kind of get the same. You can almost shoot it the same. You're just distancing yourself a bit more.
Yeah, of course. But it's great to know that you've now got that key location down, and I assume the budget that you have got is now secured that, and we're all good. Dates are set. It's
Yeah.
now getting all the other bits and pieces attached and smoothing everything out. So, if everything does go to plan and everything runs smoothly, when are filming dates, hopefully for yourselves?
The 19th and 20th is September.
Okay, so you still got a few months. You got 2 months.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like that's going to be enough time, or do you feel like you're a little bit behind?
I feel fine. I don't know
Cool.
how Lucy feels.
I feel fine as well. I think we're both just like to each other. It's fine. It's fine, and I think it will be. Like I said, we've got a good team around us and things. I think we'll find a way.
Amazing. And is that so? You've got 2 months left on, of course, the crowdfunding as well.
Yeah.
Are the PR team of the petrol station going to help with that at all? Are they going to push it out a little bit on their side?
Yeah, so if I start sort of sharing stuff through my platform and tagging them and sending them sort of an email with a link to sort of the page, they are going to sort of share it in their social media and all that.
Amazing.
All their other platforms, I'm not sure what they all are. But yeah, they're keen to do that, and they also want us to sort of provide content on the day,
Okay.
and then they'll go and reshare it kind of afterwards as well.
Oh, brilliant. So it's great that there's clearly a family there behind it, and they are looking to support you. That's got to be so relaxing and refreshing to hear for both you as creatives to make that process a hell of a lot easier. Did you think it was going to be a very daunting and a lot harder process than it has been?
Yeah.
And Lucy, for
Yeah.
yourself, was it? Do you think it was going to be a lot more challenging to come to this petrol station? Was there a point that you ever went through where you think, right, I'm going to need to change the script because it's not working?
Yeah, I think there was a point where we were thinking, oh, what are we going to do? And Ellie was like, I will build you a set. And I was like, gosh. So I think it could be maybe take the script in a slightly different direction to save Ellie spending all that time and money building a set just because we can't get a petrol station. So I think when we finally found this location and they were so willing to work with us, I think it was just a huge sigh of relief for both of us. I think, right, that's the sort of the most body actors and the crew and whatnot is a really important piece to lock down. So once that was sorted, definitely very reassuring.
Amazing. Right, I'm just going to check the time on this. What we got? 5 minutes left. Loads of time. We'll make the most of it. So what's the future for Heads Down, Hands Up then for yourselves? Because I know you haven't shot it just yet, but crowdfunding goes all well. The future of the film, what are we both hoping for? Lucy, for yourself, obviously, is your writing, it's going to be your directing, I'm assuming. What's the future for the film for yourself?
I mean, I've never really seriously pushed a full festival run. I've popped in a few here and there, but I've never really um had a real sort of budget behind it to put some into some good qualifying film festivals. So I think that's definitely something that we'd like to do. Because I think it's going to be a piece that we're both really proud to have worked on together. And it'll just be a good opportunity, I think, to get the film out there.
Amazing. And Ellie, for yourself, where will this project go in previous projects you've worked on? Is it going to be one of the larger ones? Is it going to be one of the better ones festival run wise? What's it going to do to your portfolio of work so far?
Definitely a bigger short film in regards to just the complexity of a shoot like this. Um, but for me, I think I'm just super excited to be working on a project that kind of really promotes people from different backgrounds and the stories that go untold. So a festival run for me is kind of incredible, and I'm glad that's what Lucy wants to do because I just think it will highlight so much for so many people.
Amazing. Well, I tell you what, we'll hold it there. We'll jump onto the second one because I want to dive a bit deeper into festivals with you both. So we were just touching base on festivals. Lucy, this is clearly going to be your first festival run. So Ellie, I'll come to you first. Festival wise, previously beforehand, how many of your previous works have gone on to do a festival run?
I've actually never done it until this year.
Okay, so this is your first year doing it.
Yeah, I used to go, someone I used to work with used to just distribute them.
Okay.
So they would always just be sold. Whereas when I went off and made my company, it was the first time I was like, oh my God, I can put stuff in festivals that I get to sort of choose. So I had one that's going to be in a run for the next year. So it's all
Amazing.
still new to me as well.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
talk distribution then with yourself first. You've come from the distribution background then. How is it just going straight to distribution without having a festival run behind the film?
I mean, it's nice because someone wants to buy your film, which is always a great aspect. But it's also very difficult because you never really know how it lands. Whereas at least in a festival, you have an audience that you can sit with to watch the film. And I think
Hmm.
that's an experience that you can never really forget and is part of the whole creating short films. I think sometimes they're created to be able to share that experience of your idea and your passion with a group of people. And distribution, it just doesn't feel the same. Although it's a great way to do it, it just
I
I'd
was going
like
to say, yeah, because obviously everyone's goal as a filmmaker is to make money off the film that they've made. Festival runs, you can never guarantee it because it's normally you're spending more money on the film to get it into the
Yeah.
festivals to hopefully attain distribution. But attaining distribution straight away, straight after, it's got to feel like career improving, and that's where I kind of want to be with my career is, yeah, I'm making money off the film that I've made. Going on to sell it though and attaining some money from it, was it always completely covering the film? Did you always make 100% back, or was it little bit by little bits on each film, but some money came back?
Um, I've got to think how to word this.
What were the
Uh,
distribution deals like, I guess is what I'm kind of asking. Are they,
they
we
kind
have
they're
gone?
kind of like most films that you'll see, you can pay like 90p or
Yeah.
99p to watch. Some platforms you pay a monthly fee and then you can go in and just watch whatever shorts are kind of, acquired by them. But it kind of it depends what distribution platform you use.
Hmm. Are you allowed to talk a little bit more into what you've used previously, or is that a little bit under
I
wraps? And
I can say that mine are on Sophie TV.
okay.
That's the platform that the ones that I sort of written and produced are on there.
And how did you find Sophie TV? Because I can't say I've ever heard of it before. Lucy, have you ever heard of Sophie TV before?
No.
Okay. Ellie, enlighten us on what Sophie TV is then.
Um, it's actually a distribution platform for short films, but a lot of them are packaged. So say you might have three films that are in the drama sort of genre. You can package those three together and sort of bulk distribute to make things sort of slightly easier. Oh, hello. Um, just to make things sort of easier in that regard. But it kind of depends on the amount of content you have, depends on what platform you could share to.
Okay. So did you
It
have
kind of
to
depends on genre as well.
so did you have to produce three films of the same genre and similar style to then package deal sell it to Sophie TV, or was it three odd films that you had made previously or had been a part of and then sold it as more separate ones that then they decide to package as in-house?
It was more of the production company I was working with at the time. They kind of picked the three that we had made and said, these are the three we're going to distribute.
Okay.
Kind of went in that direction.
Yeah.
Lucy, after hearing that and after hearing that distribution, you can never obviously guarantee money for yourself, but it is going to be sold and it is definitely going to be out there. The festival run for yourself, then, how are you feeling about this?
I think I feel excited, probably a little bit daunting as well, because I'm sure we'll go in thinking this is the best thing ever. Someone give us an Oscar. So I think obviously when it's not selected, which I'm sure might be the case, it could probably be a little bit disheartening. But I also think it's important to not attach too much of that to the project. I know it's going to be something that we're so proud of, and if other people don't feel the same, that's absolutely fine. But I think it's a project that reflects the hard work that me and Ellie put into it, and really represents the characters that we've put in, and gives them a good sort of into the industry. Then we're happy with that.
Amazing. And then with the piece being as it is kind of speaking unheard voices and representing a minority background, are you going to put the film into designated film festivals that are going to help spread that sort of message, or are you broadening your search for festivals a little bit more and just going to pop it out there and just kind of mass send it out?
I think we'll definitely probably target them. We love a good spreadsheet, so we'll probably do a little bit of a research organisation to see where it's best going to fit, because I think it's obviously a lot of them come with fees, so we don't want to waste our time or money on one that isn't best suited to the film. So I think we'll probably take a bit of a strategic approach with which ones we place in.
Obviously, speaking of fees, you've given me a nice chance to obviously go on to the fees of festivals. Lucy, for yourself, Ellie, I'm sure you might have dealt with a few, as you say, you've just gone on to or you're going on to do a run next year. So you've obviously put some thought into budgeting for festivals. But Lucy, for yourself, have you done much research at all into festival entry fees and how much it can cost to go on and do a successful festival run?
Yeah, it comes at a price. So we're saving this summer. I did a lot of saving in preparation. Because I think it's something that we want to do properly as well. So if we think there's a festival that's a good fit, it's making sure that we can both justify putting that money in towards it. So yeah, I think that's why it's so important to pick the right one as well. There's no point throwing a load of money at something that isn't going to pull off, and that really do we want our film to be in that festival anyway? Maybe not. So I think that's why we'll have to take a strong approach.
Amazing. And what research have you done so far for the film? Have you already selected a few that you know are going to be running in a year or 2 years' time that you know you could start looking at now, or are you going to go into it completely fresh once the film's done and go, right, let's now look at what we want to go on to do?
I think we're both quite passionate about sort of smaller local ones. We both like to put it ones local to where we're from, like Bristol and Southport. Obviously Manchester Film Festival is a really good one. Ones like Bolton as well. So the ones that BAFTA qualifying would be really cool if we could get into one of them. But I think just finding ones that align really well with the values that we share and that are in the film.
Amazing. And how are you going to go about pursuing those? Are you going to contact them directly, or are you going to go through third-party websites like Film Freeway?
The film freeway is quite good. I don't know what your take is on that, Ellie, but I think because you could just have everything ready, your information's all in one place, and you can track your entries quite well on that as well. But yeah, I don't know what Ellie thinks.
Oh no,
Perfect
I think
chance.
film freeway. Yeah, for me, I'm like freeway.
Yeah,
It's just easier as well to sort of bundle up. You can obviously do your wish list for each project and then save down the ones that you know you're thinking of potentially doing. And then it's easier to be like, okay, right, we've got a list of 20, let's navigate it down to 10, for example. And then kind of go back over that list rather than kind of keep surfing through film freeway to be like, maybe this one will work. But yeah, film freeway is definitely the way.
Film freeway can definitely just be a minefield of festivals. I've remember the days of right, just limit it to free and just apply for all of them and mass send it out and had no care of kind of where it was going or what was it going to and it's just a mass send out. But it's nice to hear you guys have got a plan and hopefully there will be a spreadsheet involved ticking off the ones that are right and not the ones that are not really going to promote your message any further. Um, but festival wise, as a whole, Ellie, you wanting to go into it from distribution, what is kind of your goal with the festival run for Heads Down, Hands Up?
I guess for me, it's obviously winning an award is incredible, but to be selected is the achievement, I think, and to find those audiences and group of people who want to view your film in front of people and give you that sort of platform and shot is kind of the avenue for me that I think is what I look forward to the most, is just being able to connect with like-minded creatives and be like, okay, we've all got into this festival, we've been selected, and that's just an incredible part of the journey that we get to share together.
Amazing. And Lucy, for yourself, what is the goal for you as a director, maybe with these festival runs?
I absolutely agree. I think if we get selected and it means that there's going to be eyes on the screen and people coming to watch our film, it would just be fantastic. An award would be amazing, but I think the more eyes we can get on this story, the better.
So are you using then, if you do get all the festivals that you are selected, is this then going to be a springboard onto another project, hopefully with some networking that's done at these festivals?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be a silly opportunity not to dive into that if we're selected and we're put in a room with like-minded people that are on the same journey we are. It'd be great.
Amazing. So realistically, Lucy, for yourself, where's your highest mark on what film festivals you're going to look at entering?
And then sort of price-wise, or
Price wise or stigma wise, and the backing behind a festival, are you aiming high? Are you wanting to try and look at Cannes and Rain Dance, Sundance, or are we going to stick to, as you say, more local Manchester, Bolton, Bristol?
I mean, that would be amazing if were going to put it into one of them. But I think that'll be something me and Ali have to sit down and evaluate where the best chance we think it has, and maybe if it's not fit for that this year, we can find other ones. But I think that's a conversation we get.
Okay. But what is your dream? Where would you
Oh,
like
the
it to go?
dream. Oh God, yeah, get it to Cannes. Why not?
Okay. Okay.
Cannes on to the Oscars.
And Ellie, for yourself, are you in the similar agreement or are you a little bit more, okay, let's think realistically where are we actually going to be able to go and be like, are you more level-headed or are you thinking the dream version and can and rain dance as well?
I mean, it's always good to dream. I think it's good to try and get into festivals like that. I think it just depends on how we feel once we've shot and sort of the content we know that we've achieved on that day. We can kind of have a better idea of run times and all that aspect of it, because run times is massive as well, obviously with film festivals. So
Hmm.
you have to kind of get that right. Um, so yeah, I guess just wait and see really until we've shot the film, but I'm all for it to just reach for the stars and go for it.
Amazing. Well, it's everyone's hope to go on and, as you say, have a successful film festival run. But then once that film festival run, Ellie, is your distribution side going to then kick in? Are you going to want to look at distribution for this film, or are you going to be happy with just a festival run?
I think I'm happy with a festival run, to be honest. I don't think we have to distribute a film like this. I think it'd be good to do like a festival run. Am I right there? Someone wants to play today. Um, yeah, I think you don't need to distribute after a run like this. I think we could literally have a festival run, enjoy that, and then share it with everyone on YouTube, Vimeo, that kind of aspect.
Amazing. But
Yeah.
with, as you say, with it then going on to YouTube and Vimeo, is it going to be something that you're then going to look at still promoting and constantly, maybe every now and then putting a little message out going, go watch this, or are you going to let it sit there and collect dust, as everyone says?
I definitely think we'll promote it and be like, okay, now you can finally watch it if you didn't make it to a festival, and kind of promote it through both our socials, through the business. and just say, look, maybe get a trailer for it to kind of publicize everything. But yeah, I'm down to promote. I think it's the best way to do it and to just gain traction really and get sort of the cast and crew to help promote as well would be great.
Amazing. So what's after this project has happened, are you already thinking about what's next, Lucy, or are you kind of set at the moment, just focusing on heads down, hands up?
Yeah, I think that's taken up a lot of my focus at the moment, and that's where my head's at. I think I'd like to continue developing writing, maybe get a feature under my belt next year, not production, just written. I do a lot of sort of sitcom writing, so maybe working on a bigger project would be fun. But yeah, at the moment it's all heads down, hands up.
Amazing. So feature wise though, I know you kind of just touched on it there. Are you, what makes you want to go on and write a feature?
I think as a writer, it's always been a great achievement to have that, and I've written a few over the years, but when I sort of earlier days of writing that now I wouldn't touch with a barge pole and leave them in the graveyard. So now I think I've developed as a writer and I've honed in about my genre a little bit more. Bringing a feature length story to life would be a great achievement, even if it does just sit in a dusty drawer.
Amazing. So when is that feature hoping? We'll touch a little bit on both of your goals. Are you, as you say, is it feature definitely going to be for next year, or are you aiming a little bit higher and hoping to do that feature a little bit sooner?
I think it depends when the inspiration comes. I've got a few ideas sort of floating around in my head, but I've not landed on anything yet that I think I could really take this anywhere, and people would want to watch the story. I think when the right idea comes, that will be the catalyst. It'd be great if I had to get a start on it before the end of the year. Um, Maybe I'll feel really inspired after we finish our Heads Down, Hands Up shoot, which often when you work on something, you always get a bit of a buzz to keep going into the next one. So who knows?
Amazing. And Ellie, for yourself, maybe future goals for yourself. Have you got anything coming up after Heads Down, Hands Up? Is your calendar looking busy, or are we taking a quiet month for the winter?
We've got a couple that we're thinking of sort of doing just after, so maybe November time. I'm going to go out to America as well and go to AFM, which is exciting to kind of
Amazing.
try and pitch some projects. And then we've got sort of quite it's a drama, this one, but a short film that's kind of in development at the moment that we want to shoot before Christmas, essentially.
Amazing.
Um,
And as you say,
that's
you're pitching projects. What kind of pack are you taking with you?
we've got for one of them, we've got a pitch deck, nearly a finished redraft of the script, which we're kind of working on at the moment. Um, just along with sort of budgets, stuff like that. Then the other projects we have are literally just scripts, but they're kind of all in the similar genre. So we're kind of package dealing those up to be like, okay, these will sit under this type and go from there, really.
Amazing. And then a little bit further ahead for yourselves, what are your goals looking like for 5 and 10 years' time?
Cool.
You go first, Lucy.
Oh, thanks. I mean, in 10 years' time, it'd be great if I sort of had a professional credit behind me as a writer, would be brilliant. I think that's probably more likely than having maybe a directing credit, but who knows? Hopefully, me and Ellie will have collaborated on a few more projects, maybe even a feature film. Who knows? That would be great if that's under the belt in 10 years' time as a director as well. So anything goes, I suppose.
Amazing. And what makes you say a professional credit? What would you class as a professional credit for yourself?
Well, usually sort of when you're applying to schemes and things and these things come out, yeah, there's limitations if you've not got professional credit under your name. So usually that's in the form of something that's been broadcasted.
Okay,
A
magic. And
bit
Ellie for your,
numbers.
yeah, and Ellie for yourself?
I would just love to have my company running so that it kind of can help other people find a way into the industry and gain a credit. Um, I'd like to experiment with feature films, TV shows. We've got a lot that we're kind of working on. Um, but yeah, 5 years down the line, I'm hoping that me and Lucy have quite a lot under our slate to work
Good.
together. And then 10 years, yeah, just to have that platform that helps people sort of get in the industry and get other jobs through kind of working on products, different creations like ours.
Amazing. And I know the last thing I kind of mentioned to you both last time before we went was the 48-hour project. Have you both looked a little bit more? Are you going to be tempted to take on Bristol, or is it just going to be right, heads down, hands up, focus?
Um, I would do it.
And
100%.
Lucy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually had a chance to look into that. I've been, I think, two heads down, hands up, but could give it a good go. Why not?
Because as you say, career goals are can involved. Film 48 has that clear path to
Yeah.
Cannes. It is win your local, win Filmapalooza, you're in Cannes. I know
Hmm.
Bristol is coming up within the next few months. I think it doesn't clash with Heads Down, Hands Up, and it is only a weekend at a time.
Yeah. That is,
Do you think it'll be on the cards, Lucy?
Absolutely could be. Could be. Anything's possible with me and Ellie, so not ruling anything out.
Amazing. So if you are, I wish you the best of luck with going forward with it, and I would
thank
love
you.
to come and see it. I don't know if I'll make the journey up to Bristol to do Bristol's one. I'm hoping to do London's one this year though, and maybe take on a couple in America because I know they're the larger ones. There's several teams there, and there's several teams in London. But I'm sure I'll hopefully cross paths with you at 148 Festival in the future at some point. But Ellie, I wish you the best of luck with your production company, and I wish you, Lucy, and you, Ellie, both of you, the best of luck with Heads Down, Hands Up. Is there anything you'd like to promote? Has the Heads Down, Hands Up new Kickstarter been released yet? Can anyone go and find that anywhere, or is it just the socials you'd like to promote for yourselves?
I'd love to give our cast a shout out for Heads Down, Hands Up. We've got Tiana Hodding, who is absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait for Lucy to direct her. We've got Joe Carmichael, who is going to be our second lead, who is incredible with comedy, and we've managed to work with on Salon Standoff as well. And then we've got Edward Crook, who is also playing the robber. And so I'd just like to give the cast a massive shout out and just say we're super excited to collaborate and work together.
Amazing. And Lucy, for yourself?
Yeah, just to absolutely echo that. It's going to be a really exciting shoot in September, and we're looking forward to working with everyone on board. And I'm especially looking forward to taking back to the director's chair.
Amazing. So is that Kickstarter live just yet, or are we still on waiting terms for the Kickstarter?
It be live in the next sort of week. So by this time next week, it should be live.
Brill. So once this is out, it should be live. So ping me across that Kickstarter link and I'll make sure it's linked everywhere as well. And I'll get your message out and hopefully any help is good help. So yes, but thank you again for coming back on the Zero Budget Filmmakers podcast. I apologize for the first episode, but this one we have a recording, so it will go out.
Thank you for
Um,
having us.
Pleasure. My pleasure. I'll end the episode there.